Okay, here we go. Probably because I'm a reader and probably because I watch a lot of book-related videos, I had recommended to me in the YouTube recommendation section a series of Jimmy Kimmel videos that had to do with asking people on the street what the most recent book they read was. In theory, the thing that prompted this sort of video was studies coming out in multiple years in a row. I think the first one of these videos that was released might have come out in 2017, potentially after that, but consistently there seems to be a statistic that 25% of adult people in the United States have not read a book in the last 12 months. The number is actually lower than 25%, but we'll say a quarter of people. Now, this is obviously a segment edited for late night TV, so it's going for entertainment value, but a bunch of the videos are predicated by the fact that when you ask somebody on the street to name a book or name their favorite book, there's different videos in this series, they can't do it. Now, if we actually assume the statistics are correct, that a quarter of people haven't read a book in the last 12 months, the odds of someone being able to name a book, if you just pick a random person on the street, it should be essentially everyone. But the way that these videos are edited for entertainment value, they're not going to pick someone that can name a book. They're going to pick the people that give the dumbest answers, which I feel like just gives a really weird and dishonest, warped view of the actual world, not including the fact that if you just pick a person off the street and ask them to say something, especially if they know that they're going to be on Jimmy Kimmel or that they're being interviewed for some major show, they're going to be nervous and it's going to be hard to come up with the name of a book. But I cannot believe that if you took any large smattering of people and sat them down and asked them to name a book that they couldn't name a single freaking book. I don't buy it. What, like half the movies that exist are made after books? People can come up with the name of book. So if there's anyone that even watches these videos and assume that they're reflective of reality in any major way, I think they're just being dishonest with themselves. And the shows are kind of being dishonest by presenting the information in this way, specifically because they're going to be edited in such a way that they're not going to play people that just come up with a book. A common theme throughout this series of video sketches is that they also highlight people that are talking about being in college or graduating college and never had to read a book. I didn't get a bachelor's degree. I only have an associate's degree. I never had to read a book for my associate's degree. Who actually thinks that you have to read books for most classes in college these days? Most people are going to, if they want to follow the rules, read assigned sections of the books that they're given, and then they're going to answer the questions on the quiz or give the information in a paper. Most of the time you're going to be looking at articles instead of books, or if you read a section of a book, you're not going to be reading the whole book. The whole premise of everything that's being presented in this video, I think it's just complete bullcrap. And I feel like anyone even older than me and younger has to realize that the way that some of these segments are edited for late night TV is just super dishonest. I don't know if you've ever looked into the production of like singing shows or reality TV or a lot of these late night productions, but so much of it is scripted or edited so heavily to present a specific narrative that gives across whatever they want to say. Like it's stupid and it's benign and it's asinine. I honestly don't even find it that funny. And also, can you even equivocate the fact that someone can or cannot name a book with intelligence in 2022? I feel like those are not even apt comparisons. The majority of information and data that we have, how much of it is actually relevant to books? Like, if you want to know something, you can look something up online. You can either find an online tutorial or an article. You don't have to read a book to know things anymore. In history, like in the olden days, you used to have to read a book to learn something. Now you can learn something in so many other ways, and that's a cool thing, a good thing, not a bad thing. But this entire series triggered me mostly because it's a lie. Screw you, Jimmy Kimmel, and stop lying to people. Honestly, how many books do you think that Jimmy Kimmel reads on a regular basis? And there's some of these videos that are specifying novels. How many fiction books do you think that Jimmy Kimmel is actively reading on any sort of consistent schedule? People have different ways of absorbing information. They have different things they want to learn, and they have different ways to learn those things in 2022. What the frick are we even doing? That being said, this is obviously a book channel where I talk about books and my love for books. And I do think it is sad that this is a medium that is largely, as the majority of society, it's been passed by most people. A lot of people don't read fiction. I think there's many reasons for it. I've addressed that in different video discussions that I've had before, but hey, books are a large commitment. They can involve a lot more focus than turning on a television show. They require a lot more time in general than watching a movie. But I think obviously there is great value value to be had in reading, and yes, I do wish more people enjoyed fiction. One of my loves of being here on YouTube and having a Discord related to books is to be able to share my love of books with other people and to be able to discuss them with other people. I love it, and I would love to share that with more people. But the reality exists that more and more people are reading less and less. And I have to wonder what the reason is for that, other than just the barrier to entry. Why aren't people loving reading the way that they used to? And I do think there's something to be said for the fact that there are other ways to be entertained these days. But reading and enjoying reading is a skill to be crafted, and I don't think people are learning that anymore. And I feel like you can't help but blame education, blame some parents, blame the way that the culture works with reading. I truly believe that if most people were to be exposed to a book that was right for them and they fell in love with reading that one book, they would be more likely to entertain the possibility of enjoying books more in the future and potentially picking another one up. And that's the kind of thing that super interests me. How do we get more people to enjoy reading in a time when most people don't? And I'm not trying to broach the subject of parents letting their children read books that are not age appropriate for them based on what the parent would know about their own child. What I am talking about is there does seem to be a lack of letting children read things that are interesting to them. And if people don't think that books are going to be interesting to them, they will never care to find books that they care about. As readers, we know that there are so many different kinds of books, so many different types of lengths, so many different themes and authors and perspectives and all these things that make reading interesting and like super diverse in what people can read and what they can get out of reading. But if people never learn to craft that love for reading in the first place, they can't be expected to think that books are an enjoyable pastime, an enlightening pastime, or we're spending any time on it all. And like I said, I don't think that books are as necessary for learning new skills and crafting skills as they used to be in the past. But even just as an entertainment option, I feel like people have not been exposed to good books, that is, books that they really enjoy reading and that bring pleasure and passion to them, because they're not taught to love reading. And one of the reasons I think people are not taught to love reading is they're not allowed or not encouraged to read things that are interesting to them in education systems, at home, in society. I think there's a positive sort of peer pressure that can come with, hey, if your friends are doing something and you want to do it with them, you want to enjoy all of these things together. The fear of missing out, following the zeitgeist. If people that you know that you like are reading books, you might want to read those books. But if the people are never reading books in the first place because the books that they're forced to read in school are boring or old or don't appeal to them in ways that they understand, they're never going to love it ever. And that's just going to make them never pick up a book. Am I saying that children should not be sometimes forced to read things that they don't like so that they can learn? No, I'm not saying that. Of course, I think that children should be made to do things they don't like so they can grow and learn. But how many times are children discouraged from reading something because it's not deemed educational enough or valuable enough in society, instead of forced to read books that are 50 to 100 years old? I have a lot of friends that really enjoy classics and value the classics, and I think that that's really cool. And I think that those people enjoying classics and their love for those types of books helps them really get into reading in a way that they read lots of things now. But I think it could go the other way. If you get into reading, you might be willing and earnestly attempt to read things that are outside of your comfort zone because you already know that reading is something that can be pleasurable and or enlightening. Part of that is a societal pressure thing. If you're the type of person that likes to read science fiction or fantasy for pleasure, but you're always told that those are throwaway books and they're not worth anything, but those are the type of books that you enjoy reading, are you going to be willing to continue pushing against that societal pressure when you know that the books that you like are always crapped on by society? If you are a young girl who enjoys reading young adult fiction and you are told constantly that that's garbage, do you think you're going to continue to read that for your whole life when all you hear is that's a waste of time? Or are you going to start watching TV, which is more socially acceptable, or watching a movie, which is more socially acceptable? Would it not be better to encourage people to read the things that they enjoy reading? Even if you want to look at it pragmatically, which I think can be okay. If you want people to read things that you think are important, wouldn't you want them to learn to read and enjoy reading and to connect the parts of their brain that tell them that this is a valuable exercise and experience? Wouldn't you want those connections to be made so that they can read the things that you think are important or smart books or whatever? I feel like we just squash people's love for reading before it ever develops. And of course, people are not going to enjoy books when they're never allowed to freaking enjoy books. Let people read the things that they want to read so that they can love reading, and that can transfer to other things. And I feel like garbage segments like these Jimmy Kimmel joke sketches would just as easily make fun of someone for saying like 50 Shades of Grey or Twilight or Game of Thrones because it's a TV show or whatever. They would crap on these people for saying books that were not smart people books. But if you ask someone what their favorite TV show is, you don't crap on them for watching non-smart TV shows. We can do things for entertainment and it's fine. Why do so many kids gravitate towards reading Dr. Seuss as kids? It's because they're colorful and they're zany and they're silly and they rhyme and they've got goofy words and they stimulate the imagination in a way that appeals to a child. These are the types of books that can get kids into reading while they're super young. Are Dr. Seuss books actually teaching anybody anything? Yes, they're teaching kids to love reading. Take the average booktuber on YouTube and find out if Harry Potter was significant in their development of learning to love to read. And for most people, that's true. Harry Potter got so many people into the idea that reading could be awesome that they've grown up and they probably are reading lots of different things now. Some of it is valuable smart people books and some of it's not. And even if they aren't reading valuable smart people books, are the TV shows that they're watching educational? Are they not able to be intelligent, successful people because they do something for fun, for a hobby? What the frick, man? Even from an educational standpoint, can reading fun, not smart people books not increase our vocabulary, not increase our language skills, not help us understand different points of view from different perspectives than our own? Of course they can. Those are the benefits of reading fiction. But even if those benefits didn't exist, there is still in my brain some inherent value to teaching people to enjoy this other medium of things that exists in the world. Not everybody has to be some kind of super book nerd who reads freaking 50 books or more a year. Not everybody is going to have the same hobbies, but I would love it if more people in general knew that books were an avenue for learning, for fun, for experiencing new things. If more people were exposed to actual fun communities of readers and or finding books that are interesting to the individual, would it not become more accepted and popular to actually enjoy reading fiction again? If you know somebody that doesn't like to sit around reading necessarily, but they like to do other things where they could be listening to an audiobook, gift the person an audiobook and pick something that you think, based on your knowledge of them, they would actually enjoy, whether you would enjoy it or not. And guess what? If you also read that book and could discuss it with them in a way that can stimulate that, you might have just created a reader. If you're a parent and your child is reading something, I don't know, what do kids read these days? Back in my day, it was like Captain Underpants. If you're a parent and you read Captain Underpants while your children are also reading Captain Underpants, you could talk about Captain Underpants with your kids in a way that shows them that Captain Underpants can be cool and be fun to talk about. Do you think that they're going to have a more positive reading experience than if they just read books for school that they don't like, that they never enjoy, and they have to only focus on it for class, in a class that they don't like? You really think that's going to stimulate a love for reading? Or would it be better and more pragmatic to tell your kids that Captain Underpants can be really fun, read it with them, talk about it with them, talk about whatever dumb book your friend may think is interesting in a way that actually stimulates the connections in the brain that show us reading is freaking cool and it doesn't have to be everyone's main hobby. People can enjoy the things they want to enjoy. But hey, the option's out there. Hey, I haven't read a book this year. I'll pick up a book now. I'm like in this weird middle ground where I don't think it's the weirdest thing in the world that people aren't reading books. I think it makes sense that most people are taught to not enjoy reading books. But at the same time, I would love to encourage more people to read books. And freaking Jimmy Kimmel or the writers at Jimmy Kimmel or whatever the frick. I hope I didn't say Jimmy Fallon in this video. I don't know. Jimmy Kimmel is who I'm talking about. Stop lying to people, Jimmy Kimmel. Come on. Sorry for the ranty video. I just got triggered by these recommendations on YouTube. Does anything I'm saying resonate with any of you? Let me know in the comments down below, please. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Share this video with somebody who may be struggling with this topic. If you want to see more videos from me in the future, please subscribe to the channel. I would love that. I hope to see you in another video soon. Until next time, goodbye.
Sleep, no one ever get enough. Always looking out tired. Sleep, no one ever get enough. If I don't show up, I might get fired. Sleep, no one ever get enough. Always looking out tired. Sleep, no one ever get enough. If I don't show up, I might get fired.